Hello everyone, I'm Kautaq Singh Cheema, your host, and today a person with us who embodies inspiration, innovation and impact, Mr. Tom Supra. Good afternoon to you.
Chitkara.
Sat Shri Akal, sir.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, sir. I'm glad and honored to interview you today and have a candid conversation and discussion with you.
Excellent.
So, sir, how has it been for you in this university?
Oh, it's amazing. Chitkara University is a fantastic place. Honestly, the people have been so kind to me. The campus is beautiful. I've been here since wintertime, and now it's, I guess spring or summer, but the flowers are in bloom. The people are so nice. The students, are amazing. They're so friendly. And I'm just having the best time, the time of my life here, really. It's great.
Sir, I've seen you walking around and smiling every time, most of the times, maybe. So is it a break for you to come in the university, or is it like a lot of work and stress and you smile?
I think it's just a matter of, people are giving me their smiles. So because they're smiling to me, how can I not give it back, right? Like when you throw a smile at someone, they can't help but smile back to you. So I'm getting that everywhere, right? And so everybody is just so friendly here in Punjab State, in India. And, I've been treated so well here. That's why.
Perfect, sir. So you've worn so many hats of being an entrepreneur, innovator, educator. So which one role has shaped you the most?
Honestly, I think, when I began my career, when I finished university myself, really it was the decision right after university to go to Japan. And, living in Japan or, moving to Japan, it was a difficult decision to make. But once I made that decision, it helped me to develop resilience in myself and to realize that these are the kinds of things that I can do, and to understand that, it was something that in the future, I was going to be able to take care of myself. I was going to be able to expand my horizons. So I think taking that first step was really something that sort of shaped the rest of my life.
What inspired you to create, the analytics in George Brown College? And how is it, impacting the future, sir? And how is it evolving as well?
Okay, so, it was back in 2004. I had a little bit of an IT background. I went to school in the late 90s for IT. And, I understood that the future belonged to the numbers people. I think the past belonged to the literacy, the people with their words and whatnot. And I think the future belongs to the numbers people. I recognized that around 2004. And, I connected with SAS Canada at the time. And really it was an opportunity to sort of start to think about not only the IT aspects of analytics, but also the creativity part of it. So I realized that this was actually, amongst my team, that this was actually a business task that we were going to have. And the numbers people were going to be the ones that were going to help leaders make decisions throughout organizations. And so I pestered my school to do that for about 10 years. It took about 10 years to get there. And finally, they agreed to it. And I think now we're really at the same precipice with artificial intelligence. I really think that we're now at the point where people need to start putting their hat on and thinking about what the future of AI is going to be and how artificial intelligence is going to impact all different careers. And, so students today need to sort of start thinking about the future as well, just like I did. That was a 10-year process for analytics. And now we're going to have a similar process, maybe quicker, with artificial intelligence change.
So, sir, having taught for nearly 4 decades, what drastic change or shift have you seen in students' learning and thinking capabilities?
Oh, I don't think the capabilities have changed. I think students are students, and the intellect levels are still great, and they're certainly very rapid at learning and picking up new information. The internet has made the digital divide really sort of shrink. So it doesn't matter where you're from in the world. I think you have access to information. The question that I ask in today's world is whether they have the capacity to deal with that information and see what information is true and what information is manipulated.
Right.
So, and even sometimes I'll question it myself, but I do come from an era where I think we sort of naturally used or sort of practiced our critical thinking skills a little bit more. And, when I say critical thinking skills, I don't necessarily mean that, you have the ability to, think the other side of something. But I think what it means is that you have the ability to argue the other side.
Right.
Right. And, I kind of think of it as everybody's sort of saying that they have the right to their opinion. And, I truly believe that, I don't think you have the right to your opinion unless you can defend it.
Right.
So I think that might be some sort of a difference that I've seen over time. People are now absorbing information through podcasts, through the internet, through social media. They get stuck in their algorithms and their bubbles, and they're seeing one side because it's being delivered to them. And so they think that that's their opinion. But when presented with another side, really they should be breaking through, say, belief perseverance, right? And so they should really break through. And there's often times where presented with new information, you really should change your mind, or it should really make you think and stop about changing your mind. And I think that I've seen a big change there. And also, as a teacher, I used to be the sage on the stage. So people would listen to me, and, when I'm talking to them, I have the knowledge and I'm delivering the knowledge. But in today's world, that's not the way it works. We co-create knowledge together. And my students teach me as much as I teach them. And I think that's really kind of the difference.
Oh, wow. So I had a very curious question to ask. Being a 25-year-old, how have you taught for like 4 decades?
How have I done it? I think probably just, in all honesty, I think I was just sort of born to do this. I mean, maybe I'm narcissistic at one, at the end of the...
But you look very young, so you don't look like... And everybody, I believe, in the university, they want to figure it out what's Tom Sir's age. He's so
funny.
Handsome, plus he looks like Tom Cruise, and you share the same name.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. I got that when I was younger, actually. So I think in today's world, maybe people said Matthew Broderick or something. But anyway, okay. So number one, I do a sport. So I'm in Canada, right? So I'm from Canada, and so I actually play a sport called curling.
Okay.
And curling is it's physical. It doesn't look physical when you watch it,
right?
But it is very physical. Look it up if you if you don't know about it. It's an Olympic sport. It's a type of sport that I can do up into my old age, but it's doing lunges and things like that. So I do that twice a week.
Okay.
And that keeps me, a little bit more physically fit.
Right.
So that for sure. Probably good genes. I think, my mom and dad, thank you very much for the good genes, I guess.
Sure.
And you know what? I try to keep a positive outlook in life. And you probably notice if you see me walking around campus, I'm going to toss a smile at people.
Right. We do, sir. We do observe, and we feel very happy and elated whenever we see you, and we can observe as well. Whenever you talk to people or you're just walking, you have a broad smile, and that personality and that persona, and plus that aura you have. We are elated to have you today with us and talking about your life, about the experiences you've had. So
I'm having a good time. I love India. I'm having a good time. I'm curious about it. I've come here with curiosity.
That's
and I've experienced quite a bit in northern India. So I've gone around to different places and seen some differences and tried to absorb as much as possible. And honestly, I just love the students, and I love seeing all of your smiling faces, and everybody's treated me so well. So I mean, how can I complain about it? You know what I mean? There's nothing to complain about. I love Chitkara University. You guys do a fantastic job here. It is really put together very well. The students are fantastic to me. Nobody's treated me with anything but respect. So, how can I not walk around with happiness, right? So you guys deliver happiness. I catch it And that's really just sort of the bottom line there.
So, sir, from empathy toys to e-commerce arbitrage, your experience has been so diverse. So, what has driven you to have such a diverse domains?
So it's the opposite. It went backwards that way. The reality is, actually over in Canada, after building out the analytics program and working with my team there, of course, George Brown College shifted my focus over to the entrepreneurship program. So when they did that, at the same time, I was put in charge of a social enterprise student club. It's called Enactus. Actually, in India, there's about 100 teams around India, so I've been looking for them. It's a global organization of social enterprise. So this is kind of, students, it's a student-run club, and students develop projects where they help local communities or sometimes, afar or whatnot, with things like community gardens to deal with the, the United Nations different priorities that they have. I see the signs all over Chitkara University about that. So this is a club that actually is supposed to be helping in that area. So since about 2011, I actually have been one of the faculty advisor leaders for that program. So that really impacted me, right? Because we've done all sorts of projects and, for sustainability, green technologies and things like that, community gardens for local people, and assistance and help with people. So also, as I'm getting closer to retirement, I don't want to retire from something. I actually want to retire into something. Does that make sense?
Oh, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And it's a wonderful quote, maybe. Yeah. It can become a quote.
Well, right. I mean, so I just sort of think, I don't feel old. I feel young. So I want to retire into something. So I have a major plan, or, part of my plan was to start this arbitrage business. And actually, my business is related to a product that I'm very passionate about. It's called Lego. So I don't know if if the students here know about it. It's half them know, half them don't.
Yes.
But you will soon, because actually Lego is about to open up a store down in Cyber City, I think down in Delhi.
Good.
So it's happening a week after I leave. But there's actually one other seller in Chandigarh as well that's doing something similar to me. So combining everything together, entrepreneurship, arbitrage, wanting to, build out this sort of reseller market, Lego store, because Lego retires and people want it in the aftermarket, building that out together and then collectively thinking about my social enterprise experience and, just my desire to help the world, that's led me down to working on producing and developing empathy toys. So it all comes together, right? It's entrepreneurship. It's helping with people, let's say students on campus that have mental health concerns. So I visited your happiness center to sort of get an idea of, what you guys are doing here at Chitkara University. And I really see this kind of being, that would be a great partnership if I actually was, living on campus or whatnot, that, just to help with the mental health. So bring in the Lego arbitrage, bring the Lego in. I've got bins and bins of used Lego, and then have the students put together empathy toys to sort of help them to keep calm in stressful time periods and develop empathy toys and things. I honestly don't know where the students are going to take it, but this is kind of something that I'm hoping that my Enactus team back at home will take on and move forward with. And you can sort of see that it's a confluence of experiences over time since about 2011.
Oh, wow. And when you talked about empathy, sir, you're so deeply involved with the social innovation through Enactus. And how do you think and how empathy, has a role in business in today's world?
Well, I absolutely see empathy as being a major leadership quality. I think if leaders don't have empathy inside of them, how can they make moral decisions, right? How can they behave ethically? I believe ethics really kind of stems from an empathetic soul or an empathetic heart. And I think that, good leaders, really need to behave ethically and they want to lead their firms and they want to lead whatever organizations they're doing, they want to do that from an empathetic place, and that permeates the rest of the organization, right?
So that's a top to bottom kind of a thing, sir. And so, but do you really think that empathy is practiced or is indulged in corporates?
I mean, I think we do have experience. We do have examples where it isn't, right? So we know that back in 2007, 2008, when we had the market crashes around the world and Enron and Bear Stearns and all that, I think that, you're looking at examples where empathy was not being employed and therefore their ethics were out the window. And, but I think what ends up happening is if leaders don't approach things with empathy to start with, and then permeate that through their organizations, what ends up happening is you end up with regulation, right? And that's when you have, governments and other authorities coming in and regulating those industries. And so it's forced empathy, right, in that situation. I think coming from the free world and being in the largest democracy in the planet, I think we do have a responsibility to train people to start things from a better position and to start with empathy as opposed to, sort of making it an afterthought with regulation.
But I also would like to barge in where when I talked about corporates, maybe with big corporates, they're all SOP driven and you have some set of rules and regulations for employees as well. But when we talk about the culture of startups, which is booming, and especially when we talk about India as well, everybody is curious and everybody has an idea and wants to execute it. But at the same time, they are getting that fire in the belly to do a startup. But this topic current, so you should, I believe, be very focused when it comes to not only earning money, but also creating an atmosphere where other employees with you, your subordinates, also have that, spark maybe. I would like to know more about that from you, sir, how that startup culture can also imbibe the empathy in it. Yes.
Wow, that's a big question. So I actually have visited your Explore Hub and met with a couple of entrepreneurs there. And I do think they already are starting, the ones that I met anyway, are already starting from the empathetic position because their startups are more related to the social enterprise realm. So they're already taking it on. I mean, I think there was a startup that I heard about that was trying to connect people giving blood with people that are in need and clinics and things that are in need of it. And that was really fantastic. I thought, wow, what an amazing, approach to take. So they already really have it here on campus, I think. I think what you're talking about is the whole, start fast and break things, right? And, people do that. I'm not from the United States. So I don't come from capitalism central, which is, sorry, people from the US, but, I think that their approach is a little bit more money centered. And, I come from Canada, which is a mixed market economy, right? It's not full capitalism. We do have some socialist elements like healthcare is kind of a socialist system. And we all kind of agree. Not everybody, of course. We all have our different differences, but we all kind of agree that we would like to take care of each other, and we would like to make sure that that children are raised, and that young parents are given supports and things like that, and that this is sort of a social good. So I think that that's coming from a mixed market economy. I do see the empathy that we spoke of before as kind of, guiding us a little bit more. I think in young people, maybe they're seeing the American model of, move fast and break things. And then they see the Facebook and the Metas and the, and the large scale organizations from there. Certainly that's one way of approaching it. I would say, I just think that if you want to, you want a healthier life for yourself. You want to think about the rest of the community. You want to think about different cultures. You want to be an anti-racist. You want to, just sort of embrace society. I truly think that we need to think about everybody when it comes to building corporations. And I ask my students the question, why do businesses exist? And then they have an A and B. And, the A is, to make money or to hit the profit motive, or B is, as a social good, right?
Yeah.
So that to employ people to make sure they have livelihoods. And, the class is split, right? Some people say A, some people say B.
What would be the percentage, sir?
It's about a 50-50. And, I would, oh yeah, sure. Because, once you bring focus to something like that and you ask that question, people can only self-reflect. Like, am I greedy? Like, is the profit motive everything that we need? Or, is the profit motive going to lead us to what? More billionaires in the world, and then everybody else kind of lives in squalor or, that kind of thing. I personally think maybe my upbringing and, my approach to life is like, we are all equal. We should all have equal opportunity. And it doesn't matter to me your background or where you're from or anything. I just think everybody should have equal opportunity. And I truly believe in lifting all boats. Like, let's work on a team.
Yeah,
let's work as a society to lift all boats so that everybody has an opportunity and a chance.
That's a wonderful thought, sir. And I would also love to know, like, how do you approach failure, or how do you actually balance it out in your daily life? And any unforgettable moment you had which you want to share with us regarding the same?
So failure is a daily process for me. I am a teacher. So, at the end of every class, you can't help but walk away from the class. And it's very similar to when a student or when anybody goes for an interview for a job. They ask you a number of questions. And when you walk away from there, you don't think about the questions that you answered well. What you do is you hover on the questions that you think you didn't answer well. Did I say the wrong thing? That kind of thing. As a teacher, we really do walk away from our class and we think the same. We hover on the moments and the times that something didn't work out, or the students didn't understand something, or I said something off color that, somebody didn't like, or something like that. So, I think failure is almost like a daily experience. And, as a teacher as well, I get evaluated every 4 months. In my situation, I get evaluated by hundreds of people. So, 1/3 of the class loves me, 1/3 hates me, 1/3 doesn't care. Every time it's pretty much the same. So I do have to do a lot of self-reflection. And I think that to pick out one moment of that self-reflection, it's difficult to do, but it's a constant ongoing thing. Now, as a teacher and being a teacher for so long, it's just a normal process for me. And failure is not something that I worry about. I actually will, take a risk. So I will, if I want to go in a direction, I'm very focused and I will take that risk. If I'd like to start that business, I will start the critical path. And if I start going down the critical path and it's not working out, fine, I'll pivot. And I'm not worried about that. I don't worry about what is coming. I'm more concerned with the idea of creating more opportunities for myself and for others. And again, lifting all boats.
So we talk about failures. So what does success mean to you?
Oh, wow. This is a very complicated question. What is success? I think in all honesty, over my life, I've learned to see success as being the small wins. The small wins. I don't think of success as being like the overarching win. Like, at the end of the day, I became this thing or I conquered this whole thing. I think every day you can have a success, right? There's something that happened today in your life that you can say, I accomplished that. For some people, that's just literally getting out of bed and doing the dishes or something. For some people, that's, moving on the critical path of their business. For some people, that's finishing your essay. For some people, that's, communicating to people. I think these little successes are the rungs on the ladder that help you build on top of other successes, that eventually you will open your eyes and see that you've accomplished this really great thing. So that's kind of the way I would, characterize success. I'm not looking for, 5 years from now, I'm going to be here. I'm looking for the smaller, growth that can happen in some. So maybe growth would be success for me.
Okay. And so when we talk about this generation,
Gen Z, and we talk about empathy. So one side we see that people like Greta Thunberg and students and this generation altogether talking about climate change and worried about the future, but sometimes we feel that they don't care at all. What is the crux? What do you think the society is going? How would this generation impact the coming generations? And are they really going in one direction? Ever has a generation gone in one direction? I would like to know about it in a philosophical way, maybe like you shared.
Oh, wow. So it's hard for me to speak for other generations. So, I'm considered in my country or my area, of the world, Generation X. And so it's an ignored generation where I'm from. And that's just because of the demographics of how small we are. I really can't speak for these generations, but I can sort of give observations to what I see. And the first thing I want to say to people is don't panic. I think really that's a message that's necessary to get out there. The reality is over time and over even my lifetime, we've seen incredible growth in the world. Even when I lived in Japan in the 1990s, and I found even at that time, we went from, I watched the little dragon countries like South Korea, Thailand grow while I was in Japan in the early 1990s. And then I saw China grow. They lifted something like, and I don't know the actual statistic, but something like 300 million people were lifted out of abject poverty. That's an incredible accomplishment for humanity, right? But yet at the same time, you read the news, it's negative. You pull up your social media, you're on Reddit, whatever, and it's just doom scrolling, right? And everybody's doom scrolling, and it's terrible because they're sort of inputting into themselves all these negative things about the world. The world always has challenges, right? We always have something to overcome. We might fix something over here and then have these 5 more things to fix. We're always going to have that. But you know what? The important thing is that we actually try, that we put forth the effort, that we get together and that we try to move forward with that without panicking, right? Or without thinking that life is hopeless or something.
Right.
Always go forward with your, with whatever it is that you want to do to help the world, to change the world with your own little piece of the pie, right? You don't have to solve these massive problems.
Right.
We have to do that together collectively.
Yeah.
So just kind of don't get in the way of other people, and no need to panic about these things, and get to know the real statistics. Is crime actually going up? Is it going up in your area? Is it going up in your country? I'm here in Punjab, right? And I'll tell you, I see the growth in Chandigarh. I see the growth happening in this state. It's inspiring. Number one, I can see the buildings being built. I can see, the areas being developed. I mean, I think Mohali is a whole new area here.
Yes.
You can feel that everybody's putting their mind to growing India and growing this area as well.
So it's been great interacting with you, sir. And we've learned a lot from you. I personally learned very new things for me as well, and I'll be implementing it. For the viewers, I would request you to give a strong message, and for the students of Chitkara as well, sir.
Okay. You know what? This is what I think the students should do. I think they should look around. As they're walking around the campus, notice the things that are on the wall. I've noticed that there's messaging everywhere that is inspiring and true and telling you exactly how you should be in the world and, what you should do. So my first message is just open your eyes and look around, because this campus has been constructed to inspire you and make you into, a better person overall. And my second and last message would be make friends. I mean, just make friends. Make sure that you're making friends everywhere on campus, because, in the future, they're going to be your colleagues. They're going to be, your networks and your supports. Just make friends with everybody and say hi to Tom if you see him on the campus.
And when are we seeing you back in the campus, sir?
Oh, I hope you'll bring me back. That's up to you. And the decision for you.
The things we've discussed offline, that I'll be taking you to the hills. I hope you're up for it.
Oh my goodness, I haven't been up to the top of the Himalayas. I want to go to Spiti. I want to go to Manali. I mean, there's so many different places up in the mountains that I want to see and go trekking and and see so much more. Go back to Amritsar, see the Golden Temple again. There's so much more for me to do.
Yeah, so I believe you know already who's the guide for you, sir.
It's going to be you. All right. Thank you, sir.
It's been lovely interacting with you, sir. Thank you very much. It's been an honor for me.
Thank you for me as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much.